Hi,
Hi,
I'm Nick.
I'm Jill,
And we're HipStrings. Welcome to day 4 of our Base12 Spinalong. It's day 4, right?
Yeah, at least that's the bag I have in my hands.
Okay, well then we've got a big problem if it's not day 4. All right, uh-oh. What'd I do with my die?
I don't know, we have multiples. There's another one around here somewhere.
Is there?
Yeah, here.
Okay,
I have a backup for you.
nice. I'm gonna lose this one too.
That's okay. There's like 25 more in a box somewhere.
All right.
Can you read
I've got a
that?
number. Yeah, I can read. Oh, there's my other die.
Maybe you should pick up both of yours.
No, they'll be somewhere. There we go.
So I've got day 4, which is beige mastic,
I have day mystery.
which is a hand-carded bat. And it is,
Ooh, I like mine.
60% merino wool, 10% Romeldale fleece, 10% Tussa silk, 5% Erie silk, 5% mulberry silk, 5% sari threads, 5% flax.
So, really, you should have had that on day 5 with all the 5%ers you got going on. I also realized I'm wearing the wrong pants for this because
Oh yeah, you're wearing like a fine whale corduroy.
they are totally capturing
I've
whatever
learned that
I'm spinning.
corduroy is not a fabric I can wear anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of those fabrics you can't wear.
Yeah.
Help educate the audience as to which fabrics you cannot wear now.
I mean, without leaving the house without needing a good wipe down with a clothes brush?
Yeah.
None.
Okay. Which ones are better for handling fiber? Obviously, corduroy is
Corduroy is a no-go.
Terrible.
Velvet is bad.
yeah.
I don't wear synthetics.
Well, that's for different reasons.
Yeah, that's for different reasons.
I would imagine synthetics would actually be better for not catching.
Cotlin is like a cotton linen blend is really
Yeah.
good. It doesn't grab as much. For cottons, it depends on the finish. Like a good long staple cotton is good. Yeah.
Well, what do those things have in common that makes it so that they grab onto fibers less?
They have smooth surface.
Okay.
I guess I could wear like silk every day.
Ooh. There you go.
But I'm not at that income level.
Not that bougie yet.
Not that bougie yet. So now I just invest in clothes brushes because it would cost too much in like the tape length things because you have to use like 4 or 5 sheets to get me out the door, and I will still have fiber on me.
So we have brushes which are okay, but we have this one like red thing.
It has a like directional velvet-ish nap.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
I
no
have
idea where
a
to get it
brush
again or
that
what
has
it's called.
synthetic bristles, and once you get to a certain amount of fluff on the bristles, then you're just depositing it back down. Now it'll be nice and orderly, but you've still got extra fluff
So it's
on
like
your
carding.
clothes. Yes.
So then once you brush it off your clothes, you can spin it.
No.
No?
I do feel really bad on the days when I'm like brushing off like cashmere and silk. But honestly, it's so little, you know, you're talking, you know, there's maybe a dime's worth of fiber on me. It just looks a lot more than a dime's worth of cashmere.
Well, it's fluffy, so.
Yeah.
So, there was something I was going to bring up and talk about. Now I completely forgot what.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is there something you want to bring up and talk about?
No. I like how this bat, like for how many different things are in this bat, it's spinning really smooth.
Yeah. Well, that's hand carded, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you have an amazing way of spinning or carding your bats now that.
I've gotten good.
A nice amount of blending.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right equipment plus right process.
we'd love to hear what you all think about today's bat.
Do not pay attention to people on Instagram posting carding videos. They all make me twitch.
Okay, so I think that is a. By the way, Diane says yes, you have gotten good at making bets. Yeah, actually, you could comment on. I don't know if you want to give away your secrets, but you could comment on maybe some differences between the 2021 and 2022 bat making Jill.
I'm trying to think. The bats last year, because I think some of the bats last year were where I was starting to develop kind of the formula and the process that I use to make bats now. And I've kind of dialed back a bit on textural silks, and been pickier about which textural silks I use. So when I talk about textural silks, I'm talking like sari silk, silk noil, silk lap, those kinds of things. Also how I handle fleece. I do a lot more to open up tips on fleece and flick stuff open before I card than I used to.
So there's a couple of things that I'd love to dig into those things. Let's start off with silk, because you mentioned a bunch of different silks. And I know we've gone into this a little bit in our podcasts before, but can you talk, again, for this audience, about the different types of silks and what makes them different?
Yeah, because I just finished organizing all of the fibers I carry by the ounce,
Yeah.
which are primarily silks and other add-ins, plus the dyed Egyptian cotton. I just finished putting. They all have their own personal clear plastic shoebox bin. That's labeled now, so I can identify it. So, I use mulberry silk. So mulberry silk is from the silkworm that eats just mulberry leaves. And it is unique because when it spins a cocoon, it uses a continuous thread to spin that cocoon. And so the shape of that silk is different. It is very smooth. It has shine. When they process it to create the comb top that I use in bats, they do actually cut the fibers because otherwise it has a super long staple length.
Okay.
So they cut the staple length to be something that will better blend with wool.
Is it consistent?
Yes.
The staple length? Okay.
Oh, good quality mulberry silk will. Sometimes you can get bad stuff that will have short staples and that will create slubs. And so that's the smoothest. It does not like to play well with others.
Others what? Other fibers or
other
silks?
fibers.
Okay.
Because it's so smooth, it just likes to stick to itself. So it can be harder to blend, and it will also not draft as easily. So that's why a lot of people don't like spinning mulberry silk in blends with wool, because it will go off and do its own thing, and it has a totally different needs in terms of spinning than your wool.
So why do you use it?
I use it because of that property, because then you can isolate a color by using the material. And so it's really great for pops of color. So if you're using a complementary color to give that pizzazz, it's really good to put it in a mulberry silk, because you'll have that definition, rather than if you put that complementary color as another wool, then you would have optical blending, and then it'll turn into mud. It'll turn into a brown or something yucky.
Okay.
So
that's your mulberry silk.
That's a reason to use mulberry silk. You want shine or you want a pop. The other major silk people you'll see is tussa silk. Tussa silk can come from a variety of different moths. They're also known as wild silks. They create cocoons that have fragments of all sorts of different staple lengths, and the fibers themselves have a little bit texture. So they will grab onto wool, the scales of wool. And so that makes tussa silk easier to spin in a wool blend.
So it's a different type, it's a bunch of different types of
They all have similar
moths.
Yes, but they all produce a similar
fiber.
fiber.
Okay.
Erie silk is, and peduncle silk are other variations of tussa silks.
Okay.
They're just specialized forms. Like Erie silk is a particular silkworm species.
Okay.
And peduncle is another specific worm, and it's a specific part of the cocoon produces that type of silk.
So tussa is kind of like the blend, and Erie, and what was the other one?
Peduncle.
Peduncle. Peduncle dunk.
Peduncle, yeah. Yeah, and then you have your like sari silk and your silk noil, and silk lap.
Well,
Sari silk is a
interesting in and
recycled
of
process.
itself.
Is a recycled fiber. It is leftovers from the sari making industry in India, where they basically take, you know, scraps, seconds fiber, and they basically shred it to create a new fiber.
Do they also take old sari that
yeah,
get shredded up?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's called sari silk?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So it's a waste product. So yay for recycle, reuse, reduced.
It's the wrong order.
But that's why it tends... there are different types of sari silk that's out there. There's sari silks you can get there that are more like a lot of thread put together. There's ones that are more like very fancy dryer lint.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that a little bit more. Very fancy dryer lint?
It forms like this soft fluff
Okay.
that has almost no staple length. It really is like fancy dryer lint.
But how does that stay in anything? Like spinning it, it's just going to...
Enough twist to lock it in.
So you need a lot of twist for that.
Not a ton of twist. Well, okay. Jill twist is sufficient to lock in sari silk
Jill twist.
nips.
Which we learned from day 2 is not as much as nip
At
twist.
least at like 30-degree angle of twist.
Okay, there we go.
But if you experience lower twist or like fatter stuff, yeah, you cannot put in enough twist and you'll get little neps and stuff that'll fall out.
Okay. All right, so you mentioned sari silk. There's like two other ones.
There's sari silk
Noil?
threads.
Oh, okay.
So just the threads that are like left over, which I'm actually just spinning through some right now. There's some of that in today's bat.
Ooh.
It is more textural than sari silk. It's not as processed. It's going to be a little bit harder to draft too.
But this will give you some nice texture.
But it's a unique texture. And it is, this is a bit that is not
properly blended?
Well, it's tough to blend on the drum carder.
Okay.
And you have permission, if you find clumps in your fiber,
and you don't like it,
to throw it away.
It's your fiber. You can spin how you want to. That should be a song, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's my fiber. I can spin how I want to. No? Okay. Moving on.
And then there's stuff like silk noil and silk lap, which are also waste products from silk processing.
Oh, really?
And they are like these textural bits of silk waste from like silk noil is from when they reel the silk off from cocoons. It's like the little bits that are left.
Okay.
Or, when they process the fiber, it will be what's left on the carder. Silk lap is kind of this diaphanous sheet of like carded out silk waste.
I remember you used to carry that early on.
Which I actually use scissors to work with.
But you used to carry that early on, right? Was that the sheet that you would have to expand and then...
Oh, that's a hanky.
Okay.
So there are like silk, hanky is also known as mawada, and silk bells, which are the cocoons that are stretched out on a frame.
Is that a separate type of silk, or does
Yep,
that
that's a different type of silk.
Okay.
And I think that covers, and there's other stuff. There's like silk brick.
Silk brick?
Yeah.
She's a brick.
Which is a mulberry silk product.
Okay.
And fun fact, silk
As
waste.
if the other ones were not fun.
Yeah, silk waste products have a 0% tariff.
Oh. Even though they're being repurposed.
Yep.
Huh. Huh. Interesting. All right, we do have a comment from Diane. Can you spin Sari Silk on its own? I've always blended with wool.
I've not done it, but I've had friends who've done it, and they regret it. It's really short, stapled length. It's like, it'd be equivalent to spinning pill bottle cotton.
But that could come up with a really good result. If you put enough twist in it.
It tends to be ropey. I've bought Sari Silk yarn.
Yeah.
And it has so much twist to keep it together that it is ropey.
Okay.
I used it for like making some crocheted baskets. I wouldn't necessarily use it for garments.
Okay.
Refer comments of Dryerland. But absolutely lovely as an add-in into wool.
Now I want to spin some dryer lint.
They are a spice. Like, I like to think of like fiber and blends as recipes, and you have like main ingredients, and then you have like spices, and sometimes you would never eat just handfuls of peppercorns, right? Right?
I mean,
right.
That sounds awesome.
And in the same way,
you're talking to the guy that likes to chew on cinnamon sticks.
Yeah, okay.
So
ignore Nick. You would not eat just a handful of peppercorns. And I feel that way about some fibers. Some fibers, I have no interest in ever spinning them 100% by themselves.
Like flax?
I'm going to do it someday. Have I done it yet? No. But I don't like it in wool over 25%. So,
yeah.
But I like it in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful addition to wool. It can make it, do things that wool on itself won't do. So, I have a crusade about you don't have to spin all the things at 100%.
Yeah.
And if you dislike something at 100%, maybe you'll like it at 10% or 5%.
Well, yeah, not everybody likes...
There's a big difference between 30% Angelina and 5% Angelina.
Not everybody likes chewing on cinnamon sticks, but they sure as heck like cinnamon cookies. Mm-hmm. Or pumpkin spice, which is mostly cinnamon, right?
Yeah.
And Dave notes that Meredith would totally eat peppercorns. So, Meredith, you and I, we got this. Moderation, what's that?
Key to a better life.
That's what our YouTube was telling us when we started. Moderation is, what was the notification? Moderation is a key to everyone's happiness or something weird like that. JK Knits for You says, yeah, I totally pulled some of the Sari Silk out of one of the blends. Not all of it, but a little bit of it. My fingers hate to spin it. That's okay.
Sometimes it's not just, it's really hard to not get it to clump.
I mean, we've had some podcasts about designing your spin, right?
Yeah.
And this is no exception.
You can edit things.
In fact, I'm gonna make a crazy proposal. Maybe we should include this as actual specific instructions for next year. Use the Base12 as a surprise every day, but then split your opening into fourths or halves or something.
Okay, fourths would be a tiny bit.
Okay. But you take a small amount to spin on that day, and then when you have all the days open and you have experience with all of them, then you can edit and combine and do combo spins and all sorts of fun stuff.
What you should do is buy one for doing the Spinalong, and then once you've gotten to experience everything, then have a backup one to play with.
I think all of your base 12 fibers are purchasable
Yeah, they are.
afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Including the bats?
I will put the bats. I will put full 4-ounce versions of the bats up.
Yeah. So
at the end of this.
that is.
I mean, you won't be able to access it till January 1st.
Yeah.
Because the shop will be closed. And the hand-dyeds. But if there is a hand-dyed color that you really like from one of the base 12s, even though it's something I don't normally put in the shop, I will totally custom dye for you. Just email me. I'm not scary.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So, JK Knits for You says, let's see. Also, hello, and my cat has me pinned and watching you, so I cannot go get my wheel. I don't speak cat, sorry.
Yeah, Nick's like deathly allergic to cats.
Deathly.
So.
But I love them. They're adorable, and they do like me. They just want to kill me. But we're actually getting a lot of comments in here, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Dave says, moderation in all things, including moderation.
Yep.
Yes. JK Knits for You. At least I can knit on my Advent since it's right here. And Dave says, Meredith says, no moderation in peppercorns.
All the peppercorns are no peppercorns?
I guess.
She doesn't believe in grinding.
Diane says, I like a nice, even, smooth yarn, so Sorry Silk is a challenge for me, but I totally love how it looks with the pops of color. JK Knits for You says, my friend also recarded day 1 and day 2 to blend the silk more into the fiber to make it easier on her hands. I was going to do the same thing, but I'm not spinning it now. Because cat. What'd you do?
My sweater got into my single. And so my sweater was getting pulled into the oven.
You okay there?
Yeah, carding
you're not even drinking tonight.
I'm not even drinking tonight. Apparently, I can't wear loose cardigans when I'm drum carding. And I can't wear them when I'm spinning either. I am so thankful for the auto reverse on the Clemens and Clemis.
I am too. I don't want you
My
to be
drum
eaten.
carders have tried to eat me.
Yeah.
Do not wear loose items with
moving
I mean,
that is,
things with teeth.
That is like rule number 1 when you're in a manufacturing area. So
This is why I don't have employees. It's not OSHA violations if you're self-employed.
I don't know if that's technically correct.
I think it is.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff you can get away with when you're self-employed that you can't do with employees.
And this is probably why Dave says Jill is clearly the scariest shop owner. Diane says cats want to kill me too. JK Knits for You says, what blends are you using tonight? Mine is secret because it's in the future.
Mine is a hand-carded bat that is 60% merino wool, 10% Romeldale, also known as CVM, 10% Tussa silk, 5% Erie silk, 5% mulberry silk, 5% sari threads, 5% flax.
Erie silk just sounds funny.
But it's gorgeous.
It's like, this silk is scary.
It's that color.
Ah, the little
like almost rose gold, but more orangey.
Yeah, good description.
And it's a natural color.
And apparently the cat is enjoying our spinning. So.
Oh, good.
Dave says Jill is trying to recycle her sweater, and much laughter about the sweater getting your yarn.
Hey, this is like a thrifted sweater from the 80s, and it looks remarkably good for being, almost as old as I am.
Yeah, is it actual like natural fibers?
Yeah, it's actual wool.
Wow.
I've got like one little bit that needs darning.
Diane
Thank
says
you.
She's carded her fingers. Recommend against that. And yes, I don't know if you heard the cha-ching, but that is what we hear every time.
That's
you guys,
my happy sound.
Every time you guys purchase something, we get to hear that sound. So thank you, whoever did that.
And it always puts a smile on my face. Oh.
Our face.
Yeah.
But why did you point at me when you said
No,
well?
no, it doesn't always put a smile on my face. Nick can attest that sometimes I'm like, oh, God damn it.
I used to keep a record to try and identify what the period was, and it was just way too often that it flip-flopped. But Jill will go back and forth between stop buying things and why is nobody buying anything? So
And obviously you have no way of telling what my workload is like. So it is mostly complaints of why are you still buying things when I have a ton of work to do.
yeah.
Um,
But it's all in good fun.
It is
'cause
all in good fun.
it
I
does make
really
you-
do smile, and it is a highlight of every day when I get orders. Because you love me. You really love me.
That's an old reference.
Yeah.
Dave also notes, yeah, nothing loose near rotating equipment. No loose hair, no,
I don't have to worry about that.
yeah, that's true. Oh, come on. I have to let my spin enter my twist enter my fiber supply.
Haha. I didn't even split fiber today.
Yeah, I did.
Are you still at the almost end? Oh, no, 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 no!
There's no way you're catching up.
No, there's not.
And my twist is good on this one. This just...
How's your
works
flyback
out.
sample? And your wraps per inch?
My wraps per inch, I will look, is maybe a little bit thicker than usual. Maybe a lot bit thicker than usual.
And if you handle carding equipment, make sure you are up on your tetanus boosters, because raw fleece can, especially if you handle raw fleece can transport tetanus.
Is this okay, Jill? Is this acceptable for you?
Yes, I am happy.
And I know you're just doing this to try and buy some time.
Because carders bite.
Oh gosh, now my playback is... There we go. Okay. That crunching sound was not exciting, but
It's durable.
yeah. Yeah, so the tetanus is from the fleece, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Tetanus can be in the soil.
which ends up being in, no matter how well you clean your fleece, can end up being there.
It
so,
is a natural product.
since you might cut yourself, just make sure you're up on your tetanus shots.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Hopefully you won't count the fiber that I have on my pants.
And there's not that much.
I will try and...
You can make like a lace weight, like 3-inch single.
There we go. I can spin it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
There we
Thigh
go.
spinning.
Ta-da.
It's a thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, elaborate.
Probably the earliest forms of spinning were actually thigh spinning, where you take fiber and you rub it along your thigh.
Okay, so just what I did.
Yeah.
Cool. Would it be called thigh spinning at that point? Because it's not really spinning. It's
spinning.
I mean, but it's
You're
adding...
introducing twist.
It's introducing twist, but nothing's spinning. I would imagine that the reason why this is called spinning is because you got something spinning.
Well, who knows
This,
what
my
people
thigh is
called
not-
it?
That's what I wanted to know. If
It's prehistoric.
Okay. I didn't know if you had additional information. I was trying
People
to...
have been doing various forms of this for a very long time.
I was trying to tease additional
Nope.
information out of you.
There's not additional information.
Nothing to tease.
Yeah, because the wool doesn't survive. It decomposes.
Yeah.
Now, archaeologists will be finding our acrylic blankets in the archaeological record thousands of years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll wonder how we ever kept warm.
Yeah.
Because those things are not warm.
Well, it's a different type of warm. It's a clammy, sweaty warm.
Wow. So, I mean, I gotta say, when I was growing up,
And I say this as a person who has acrylic crocheted blankets, okay?
Well, I was going to say,
They have a place and a time.
when I was growing up,
And indestructible is one of those.
the having sweatshirts, like my family was never into the fiber arts with the exception of my grandmother. But my parents never were into the fiber arts at all. And so, like, we had maybe one cotton sweater.
Your mom used to knit. And
Really?
had knitting machines.
No, my aunt had knitting
No,
machines.
your mother. She has told me stories. She used to knit sweaters on flatbed knitting machines when she was, like, in her teens and early 20s.
So this is one of those things that, like, your spouse will learn more about your parents at some point in time than you ever do, which I keep on learning new things about my parents from my wife, which, okay. Anyway, tell me more.
Your mom used to make flatbed knitting machine sweaters. That's what they used to do.
Then why have I not brought my knitting machine over to my parents? We got to do that this weekend.
Sure. I
bring
swear
it
you
over.
talked about it. Maybe you just didn't pay attention to your mother, but
Thank you
when you
for
brought up
bringing
the
that
fact that you
light.
got a knitting machine, she made comments about how she used to have one like it. And she used to knit sweaters.
Okay. Well, then we will have to bring the knitting machine. Anyway, as a kid, my parents didn't have any value for wool over cotton or your typical, sweatshirt from the department store. So I always thought, like, just you had to wear 3 layers of anything, undershirt, long sleeve shirt, and sweatshirt in order to feel remotely warm. But, like, now with a t-shirt and a nice, like, hand knit, hand spun sweater, this is, like, I'm sweltering. And
That's not what you said like 2 hours ago.
well, because I wasn't wearing wool at that point.
Oh,
I was
okay.
wearing a cotton sweater at
Okay.
work.
Okay.
I don't often wear wool to work because I have to work in a lab and I don't want to clean the chemicals out of my wool sweaters. So I wear cotton to work and then I get cold. And then I change into nice warm wool at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
You
JK
best
Knits for
believe
You
I am
is
that mom that
saying-
says put on a sweater when my kids complain that they're cold.
And I'm the one that says put on the socks.
Yeah.
And they call them foot prisons. And I say, do you want hand knit socks? And they say no. And then I make them hand knit socks. And they wear them. And they like it. And then they forget where they are. Yeah, JK Knits for You says, LMAO, this is the truth of marriage. Yeah.
We are our authentic selves.
Always, every day.
I mean, we're not always this entertaining.
I mean, we have to sleep
Mostly,
sometime.
yeah. Mostly this entertaining.
Yeah. So, all right. You're still not done yet?
No!
Okay, you're spinning thinner than usual, too.
Oh, I'm not.
I spun a little bit thicker, but that's partly because I really wanted to beat you today.
We'll see whose final yarn looks best.
Ouch. I know it's going to be you. You spin
Me
more.
too.
You spin more frequently than I do.
That sounds like a you problem.
Ouch. If I could spin and play Splatoon at the same time, I would.
Well, you just have to give up all other activities that require your hands.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, Nick.
I have to give up my hands and my feet. I can't even learn how to play Splatoon with my feet or something.
We even have a beer hat for you.
I do. Was Nick's a bat? No, mine was...
Nick's was a signature blend.
Yeah. Yeah, so... I do think mine was a little bit... it was easier to spin than previous days. So.
It's merino...
Don't...
They're not going to be able to tell based just on the fiber content.
But...
It's merino, tussa, and mulberry.
Spoiler alert. I do like this, the shine from the silk. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I did learn at one point in time how to play Mario Kart with my feet because my kids were upset at how good I was. And for anybody who's played Mario Kart, it's not just the stick and the buttons. There's also triggers to jump and
I thought you set
throw
it on
items.
like dummy mode with the steering wheel to do it with your feet.
No, I actually did it with... what do you mean dummy mode? No, I played like...
Like the mode that we put it in for Chris when he was like
no,
2.
No, I actually steered with it, and I found a way to mount the controller on the floor, like right at the edge of the carpet, so that I could like nudge it forward, so that I could press the trigger, the shoulder trigger, so I could drift. And yeah, I still beat my kids. So I could knit and play Mario Kart at the same time.
I'm pretty sure they were all in the single digits at that time.
No, what do you mean? Oh, yes, single digits, yes. I was like, how could they all be single, like 1 year old? They can't all be 1 year old at the same time. They're not triplets.
Or just,
Yeah, single digits.
single finger.
Yes, no, absolutely. They were probably all single digits at the time. I don't know if I could do it again. It might be something to do.
Adrian kicks her butt at Splatoon.
Yes, he does. I am proud of him for that.
Hello, Crafty Chemist.
Hi. All right. Yes, but Splatoon nor Mario Kart are fiber arts activities, or at least they're not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm trying to think if there's something that I can. There's a lot of crocheted squid
Well, you
kid
could
hats
start
out there.
using an e-spinner, and then you'd just be down to your hands.
Okay.
And then you long draw, and then you're down to one hand.
Then I'm down to one hand. And they do sell controllers for one-handed people. So I think this might be a thing. You're in the market for a new e-spinner.
Actually, I ordered one.
You're out of the market. You're waiting on one coming.
I ordered one of the electric eels.
Okay.
They just got in stock.
Which one?
The 6. They just got in stock tonight.
Crafty Chemist, by the way, says, I watched yesterday's stream and wanted to say that for loosely spun yarn, you could always knit it into something and then felt it. Yeah. I actually was going to suggest the felting route as well, and not only just knitting and then felting it, but also using it for felt art or something like that.
Yeah.
So excellent idea, yeah. The
Every yarn has a purpose, has a use. It just gets frustrating if it's not the one you want.
That's like, it's like, what does the yarn speak to you? The yarn has to have agency over its own purpose.
Yeah.
We're being very spiritual about our fiber arts. What did the sheep intend it to be as it was growing?
Oh gosh.
When the sheep was eating grass, looking over
When the
grassy
farmer
knoll-
established its breeding program.
Okay, I'm trying to do something romantic and spiritual, and you're like, well, when the farmer was calculating the breeding program
And trying to figure out that balance between crimp and staple length and
yeah.
what characteristics they want from the wool and
You're letting your
I'm
nerd
missing on a
show.
word. Yeah, the balance between, wool versus meat and
Crafty Chemist says that they have yet to open their Nano 2.
I've been seeing them.
Yeah.
A lot of openings.
Yeah?
Yeah. Seems to be a solid little improvement over the first Nano.
Excellent.
Which is amazing for a little e-spinner that is like $100.
Yeah. And that's the one where there's a lot of hacks out there for it.
Yeah. So one of the major reasons I got the electric eel is because Maurice, the creator, puts out a ton of the of 3D printable files and stuff, and information about how you can, modify or, replace parts and that kind of stuff. And so, one of my hesitancies about 3D print, not 3D printed, but e-spinners is, well, if the company dies, I still want something that I'm going to be able to spin on if something breaks. Because most classical spinning wheels, they're made of wood, or they're made of parts that you can get off the shelf somewhere or get custom made. And, I'm not worried about whether or not I'm going to be able to find somebody who can repair like my Jensen Ashley.
Yeah.
Somebody, as long as we maintain traditional crafts, somebody's going to have the skills to be able to fix that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different with an e-spinner.
It's a good thing you've got an electrical engineer.
I also do have an
life.
electrical engineer who has experience with 3D printing
And 3D modeling.
and 3D modeling, who can help me out in a pinch.
So, it's a good thing you just ended, because apparently JK Knits For You is getting attacked by all their cats now and needs to wind yarn. So now they're going to knit on a sock. But I don't know if it's us that the cats like or the yarn. So we'll try and eliminate one part of that equation. But before that happens, Christopher has come back with another dad joke. He was there for day 1 and now for day 4. So I'm wondering if we're going to keep up this rate. But anyway, what does Frosty take when he gets sick?
Cold medicine?
Oh, that'd be a good one. Chris said a chill pill. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.